The Boston Celtics did not just win. They made a statement. After falling behind by 12 points early, the team completely flipped the script, overpowering the Washington Wizards by a stunning 136-107. The game wasn't only about numbers, it was about dominance, redemption, and a spark that could change the tone of this entire season. Before we dive into the 4 biggest takeaways from this explosive night, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the hype bell, because this game gave us more than highlights. It gave us signs of what's coming next for the Celtics. The first key point of the night came from none other than Jaylen Brown. With Jason Tatum sitting, Boston needed leadership and aggression, and Brown delivered both. He dropped 35 points in just 26 minutes, sitting out the entire fourth quarter. From the opening minutes, he was in attack mode, driving into the paint, finishing through contact, and setting the tone. He scored 16 of Boston's 26 first-quarter points, keeping the team alive when the offense looked lost. Brown didn't need threes to dominate. He carved Washington's defense apart with pure power and precision. What we saw was a player reminding everyone that he can still be the number 1 option when called upon. But not everything started perfectly. The Celtics bench struggled early, and it nearly cost them the game before it even began. 6 different reserves saw minutes in the first half, and together they scored just 2 points on 1 of 10 shooting. The Wizards' bench, full of hungry young players trying to prove themselves, outscored Boston's backups 20-2 in that stretch. Joe Mazzulla had no choice but to go heavy with the starters, and that decision changed everything. When starting 5 came back, they completely flipped the momentum. It was a moment that exposed a weakness, but also proved how dangerous Boston can be when the main group locks in. The third takeaway was the second quarter explosion. This was where Boston truly took control. Peyton Pritchard erupted for 16 points in that period. Boston shot 66% from the field, and the team turned defense into offense by forcing 6 turnovers. They got to the free throw line 10 times and grabbed defensive rebounds on half of their misses. The Celtics outscored Washington 44-23 in the quarter, turning a double-digit deficit into a 10-point halftime lead. It was basketball perfection, a stretch that reminded everyone why this team is one of the deepest and most complete rosters in the league when firing on all cylinders. Then came the surprise of the night, Neemias Queta. The Portuguese big man made the most of his minutes, delivering 15 points and 12 rebounds while hitting all 7 of his shots. Beyond the numbers, his presence brought energy, physicality, and control in the paint that Boston has been missing off the bench. With Luke Kornet struggling, Queta showed he deserves more time in the rotation. The Celtics were plus 23 with him on the floor. It's becoming clearer by the game that he's not just a temporary fix, but potentially a critical part of this roster moving forward. And when a young player steps up like that in a blowout win, it sends a message to the coaching staff and the rest of the league. By the end of the night, the Celtics had outscored Washington 110-70 over the final 3 quarters. They turned a shaky start into complete domination. The ball moved, the defense tightened, and the energy was contagious. Josh Minott, another unexpected contributor, added a career-high 21 points and continued to show flashes of value as a rotational piece. Every starter scored in double figures. It wasn't just a win, it was a recalibration of everything Boston had been struggling with during their early season slump. The Celtics are now at 4 wins and 5 losses on the season, heading into a 3-game road trip starting Friday night in Orlando. The question now is simple but crucial. Did this game mark the turning point, or was it just a spark in a long and uncertain season? Jaylen Brown reminded the league of his power, Queta made his case for more minutes, and the starters proved they can flip a game in an instant. But as the road ahead gets tougher, one thing remains to be seen. Is this the night the Celtics finally found their identity? Or will the flashes of greatness fade once again when the lights get brighter? Celtics are winning games, but the cracks are showing. Beneath the highlight plays and box scores, one issue is becoming impossible to ignore. Rebounding. The team has spent the entire offseason trimming salary and resetting its tax bill, but in doing so, they might have created a hole that money alone can't fix. Now, a new name has entered the conversation. Miles Turner. A player who could completely reshape Boston's frontcourt if the Celtics decide to make a bold move. The problem is clear. Without Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Luke Kornet dominating inside, Boston's interior presence has faded. The Celtics are giving up too many second-chance points, too many offensive rebounds, and too many easy looks near the rim. It's not about effort, it's about size and consistency. And that's exactly where Turner fits in. He's not just another big man. He's a two-time NBA blocks leader who brings both rim protection and shooting. Last season, he averaged over 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game while hitting nearly 40% of his shots from three-point range. That combination is rare, and it's exactly what Boston is missing right now. Defensively, Turner would give Derek White and Jaylen Brown the freedom to pressure the ball without fear of leaving the paint exposed. On offense, he stretches the floor, opening lanes for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to attack. He's the type of player who can elevate Boston's system without disrupting it. But the question isn't just about fit. It's about cost. Financially, this will not be an easy move. The Celtics have spent months cleaning up their payroll, carefully stepping back from luxury tax penalties that limited flexibility last year. Bringing in Turner would mean diving right back into that financial storm. But sometimes, the price of winning requires risk. According to Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey, a possible deal could involve moving Anthony Simons to make space and balance the cap, creating the opportunity to bring in Turner's $20 million contract. For a team chasing a championship window, that's a conversation worth having. The bigger picture is even more intriguing. Turner's current situation in Milwaukee makes this complicated. The Bucks recently made significant financial commitments to build around Giannis Antetokounmpo and Turner, which makes prying him away extremely difficult. Still, the NBA is unpredictable. A single shift in the standings, a single injury, or one disappointing playoff run could open the door for negotiations that seemed impossible months earlier. For Boston, this potential trade is about more than adding talent. It's about restoring balance. The Celtics don't need another superstar. They need structure, defensive reliability, and someone who can stabilize the glass when shots stop falling. Turner provides all that. He could be the missing piece between Boston's explosive perimeter play and its fragile interior defense. But this move would also signal a message to the entire league. If Brad Stevens decides to pull the trigger, it would mean Boston is no longer playing safe. It would mean the front office believes this team can win it all right now. So as Jason Tatum continues his recovery and the Celtics prepare for a critical stretch on the road, one question is starting to echo louder through Boston and across the league. Is Miles Turner the key to unlocking the Celtics' full potential, or would this be the kind of gamble that costs more than it gives? The NBA is buzzing, and Boston is right in the center of it. Reports have surfaced that several teams are quietly monitoring Ja Morant's situation in Memphis after yet another conflict between the star guard and the Grizzlies coaching staff. Among those teams, one name keeps coming up: the Boston Celtics, a franchise that knows how to turn controversy into championship fuel. The idea is gaining traction, and the question now is whether Boston would dare to make the move that could shake the entire league. According to ESPN's Shams Charania, multiple front offices are closely watching the tension between Morant and head coach Tuomas Isalo. After receiving a one-game suspension for publicly criticizing the staff, Morant's relationship with the organization appears to be on thin ice. What started as frustration is now turning into speculation. And when stars begin to distance themselves from their teams, it rarely ends quietly. A recent proposal by Bracco, a social sportsbook, presented a trade scenario that has Boston fans talking. The deal would send Anthony Simons, Peyton Pritchard, and Sam Hauser to Memphis in exchange for Ja Morant. It's the kind of move that could instantly transform the Celtics' backcourt and create a new big for alongside Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. Imagine that lineup once Tatum returns from his Achilles injury. Morant's explosiveness, combined with Boston's spacing and discipline, could redefine how this team attacks and defends. There's another layer to this story that makes it even more intriguing. Morant and Tatum reportedly share a personal friendship based on mutual respect. The same player who once said he didn't fear anyone in the West and had his eyes set on beating the Celtics in the finals could now end up wearing the same jersey. That's the kind of narrative twist that only the NBA delivers. But not everyone is convinced. Some analysts warn that acquiring Morant could be a risk disguised as an opportunity. CBS Sports' Sam Quinn pointed out that Morant has never shot better than 34% from beyond the arc and is currently hitting just over 40% from the field. Add his injury history and defensive limitations, and you begin to see why some executives hesitate. In today's league, small guards who can't defend are becoming harder to build around. Still, others believe Morant's struggles are not about talent but environment. Former NBA All-Star DeMarcus Cousins said it best: "It's time to move on. This ship has sailed," he stated, emphasizing that Morant needs a fresh start after the Grizzlies suspended him. Cousins described the situation in Memphis as a clash between militant coaching and modern basketball, calling it a recipe for disaster. And when veterans start publicly telling a player to leave, it usually means the story is already halfway written. So here we are. Boston has the assets, the culture, and the leadership to give Morant the structure he desperately needs. The trade might seem unlikely today, but as the pressure builds in Memphis and the Celtics search for another spark to keep their title hopes alive, one can't help but wonder. Could Ja Morant's next breakout happen in Boston Green? Or would this be the bold move that risks everything the Celtics have carefully built? If you want to stay ahead of every twist in this story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button right now. Because if this deal ever becomes real, it won't just change the Celtics. It could change the entire NBA.